Hey everybody, welcome to Supernatural, True Crime Supernatural and Murderers. Oh my goodness, what's wrong with me? Serial killers, supernatural and murderers. Oh, what a show we're going to have tonight.
This will be good.
Everything's wrong, right? I can't get my act together. We have a show for you tonight. We are discussing David Berkowitz, his insanity, his possession, his violence. So, Gwen, I've uploaded some pictures, some letters, and a small video. I hope the thing will play right. It's in there. So you're at the helm, of course.
What do you want me to play first?
Well, first, I'll throw it out there. Let's just start with the early life of David Berkowitz. What do you think? How did this get started?
Well, one, he was not originally David Berkowitz. He was adopted. He had a Jewish mother and an Italian father. And his mother was just a waitress, poor person, and pretty much just gave him away. So the Berkowitz adopted him, changed him, gave him Jewish names, and made him pretty much, they got him in the Jewish church. Well, his mother died when he was 11, and he did not like his stepmother at all. He didn't get along well with other people. He was a loner. He's like most of them, he started fires. I don't know if he did the animal sacrifices or not, but
yeah, he did. He poisoned his mother's parakeet.
Okay. Well, see, I didn't get into that part of it, so I figured you would know, Thomas.
That's what we're here for as a team, you know. Help each other up.
He was illegitimate. He was a product of of his wife. His mother cheated, and his dad was Italian, and she got pregnant by a Jewish man, and she was nuts. And she was trying to figure out what to do. She's pregnant. She's trying to either get one guy or the other. Neither one of them wanted her. So she ended up putting him up for adoption. And then he was adopted. Bless his heart. What a mess there. And he was 5 when his adoptive parents told him, basically, look, you're adopted. You're looking at us while you're being such a little, turd of a kid. But they weren't mean to him about it. It's just, he was freaking weird, man. He'd get up under his bed for hours in the dark just to be alone. It was like, he couldn't, like some sort of super social anxiety. He was mean. People would pick on him, and then he'd flip script and he'd jump on him.
Yeah.
He stayed in fights all the time. One of the teachers actually got him in a headlock and slung him out of the classroom.
Yeah, there's so much that goes on with his childhood. The fact that his adoptive parents tell him he's adopted at 5, the trauma that has. And at the same time, he witnessed a girl hit by a car. So he's witnessing death. He had several head injuries himself, which we know a lot of the serial killers have those frontal head injuries and all that. On top of it, he did poison his mother's parakeet because she was giving it more attention than he was getting. So that's where that attention with mom comes in,
He's definitely got the what is it called? What's it called when you're kind of in love with your mom? Oedipus complex. With his mom, and when she died of breast cancer, that was it for him.
Yeah. He didn't get along with his adoptive father. It's almost like to the point, okay, his birth father, and his mom's other husband didn't want anything to do with him. The adoptive parents told him that his mom died when she didn't.
And she did not.
Yeah. So that's a big thing right there too. And we'll get to that one. But, that's what he's going through. I think his whole life he's growing up with an identity issue. And when you have that, you could tend to disassociate with everything going around you. You start pretending, the point is when he was 5 and got told that, his mom is dead, died in childbirth, he thought his father was mad. That's why he didn't want him. And he had this fear. He couldn't go to sleep. He thought his father was going to kill him in the middle of the night
awful?
because of him being the one that killed his mom. So the stuff that went on in his head that you know, when you're a loner like that, you're just there with your thoughts. It gets away from you, and you do have that snap of anger too. You want to be alone. People keep pushing you. You become that bully. You become that person that acts out. You know, that's just part of that youth and that, you know, getting that type of information before your critical thinking kicks in.
Yeah.
You're crossing over at that time, and that's the more important time where your mind really develops, you know, the right or wrong and how you take information in. And when that's messed up, this is potentially what happens. You know, he killed his mom's bird. He's lighting fires. He's part of that triad. I don't know if he was in the third one where he wet his bed until he was a teenager, but you know, you have that triad there. You know, there's all those little things. And again, nobody really did anything about it. But the thing is, he never got in trouble with the law growing up.
No, that was the funny thing, because
all the things he did,
his parents would not turn him in, but all the kids picked on him because he was Jewish. For one. And he got to the point where, like you said, he snapped and started fighting back. Yeah. And they didn't pick on him no more. He
wasn't a small kid.
No,
he wasn't a small kid. So pick on him. It's like,
you know, one of the things that he talked about, you know, I've actually been, you know, sending letters back and forth a bit. He's a pastor now, and he's got his own website. And he said if there was ever anybody that had a testimony, it was him. And he is medicated. He's very, very, very disgusted with what all happened before. And he works with his ministry is working with people that have problems acclimating themselves for treatment. People that are imprisoned, that basically what he was. He's helping. It's sort of a big brother program. And his energy is completely different now than what it was. He even said that the whole business with the dog speaking to him was a line of bullshit. He was just trying to get out of going to prison.
Well, you know this.
Go ahead, Blaine.
Also, you know, he tried to say the dog was son of Sam. Well, if you go back to when he was in the Army, part of his unit, they called themselves Son of Sam, Uncle Sam.
Right.
And they all carried 44 Magnums. And that's what he was also known as, the 44 killer as well. So
yes, that's right. He shot him. That was actually what he was originally called, right? The 44 killer.
Let me play devil's advocate here. Okay. He now claims that he is righteous and he's with God. Okay. How do we know that's not another act? Because he is a sociopath. Yeah. Same with Tex Watson, one of the Manson guys.
Yes.
He is now a preacher, but that seems what they want to go to. But how do we know that that's really what they're doing? Or is it just another part of their psychosis to think, okay, people, I'm redeemed now. I'm healed.
I got some things to show you about that, because I knew my brother was going to be thinking like that. So I pulled some things off the website for us. I hope the thing will play properly, Gwen. It's in media assets under videos.
Okay. Is it untitled? Looks like writing on a page. Okay.
That's actually let's look at those real quick. Can you play those really quickly? Because those are some of the letters that he wrote to the media about his crimes. And the last one there, I am not well at all. And that's when he was imprisoned.
Yeah.
If you look at, I mean, what he's saying is kind of stupid. You know, it's more playing mental games, you know, being cryptic, you know. But if you look at his handwriting, it looks like it's typewriter, you know, just real. But then when he starts getting treatment, now he's writing in cursive, and it's very flowy and mellow. Can you play the other one, Gwen? There's another one.
Do you know what it's named?
I don't think I named it.
Yeah, but you guys got to understand, handwriting's a big thing. When I worked in the prison,
yeah, me too. That's what I studied.
We have to read all the inmates' letters as they came in or went out before, they got their letters or sent out letters. And you really, as you read them, you could see changes in people's personality too.
Well,
How they write faster, bigger, smaller, in cursive, block letters. So you really have to pick up on that stuff. And as you can see how he wrote to the police and all that.
One thing I noticed about the ones you showed
were wide, short, longer, and all that. That says a lot. So,
okay, the writing you just showed me, it looks like it was from a child, somebody in first or second grade. So it's
you want me to play it again? Would you like me to play it?
So we can see. I got it a little too fast.
Okay.
It does look childish. Yours in Murder, Mr. Monster.
Yeah.
But see the last one?
Yeah.
How it started when he became imprisoned, when he was abducted, and there he was in the cell, all of a sudden it totally changed.
Sure
now,
did.
do you see the other video, Gwen?
I do not. I don't know what his name. I can tell you what I have. Do you have questions? No.
I'll come in just a second. But
okay.
yeah, I just thought that some of the things that he talks about is pretty interesting on his website. He said that as a child, he was hard to handle. He doesn't blame his adoptive parents for anything. He said that he was just hard to handle as a child. How he would hide away. He was very violent. He said he started over 1,000 fires before he started killing people. And when he came out of the military, all of his friends had moved on. And he had very little friends to start with.
Yep.
So, I don't know. That's when the psychosis started. He went to a party. And it was kind of a rave. And so anyway, he went to a party, and all the people that were at the party was in the occult. And he finally felt like he had some type of identity. And the next thing he knew, he was all about it. He was all into it. But it was his fault.
Yeah.
Every bit of it was his fault. And, he claimed, actually, one of the things he talked about was after he was arrested, he was in the chapel, and a lady that's something about a Baptist ministry or something or other. And she came in there, and she had some sort of spiritual gift. So this is the supernatural side of this thing. She came in, sat with him. Police were around, but they were alone in the sanctuary. And he would ask her questions. Now, during the trial, he would scream out, I shot her. Yes, I shot her. She was a whore, and everybody was freaking out about what things he was saying. Why did all of a sudden he switched? Okay, he switched to coming in saying, yes, I'm guilty. And he wouldn't even try to help himself after that. He wasn't, plea bargain or yes, I'm insane. No, I did it. Mm-hmm. Okay. And the reason why is because of that lady. He would ask her a question, and he felt like, God would never forgive him. He says that she looks up to heaven, closed her eyes, and then she would come back and give him the answer. And he was so impressed and so moved that he realized that he needed to take full responsibility, not put it off on the other members of the cult thing that he was with. His actions, he did it, and he needed to be put somewhere because he knew he would continue doing the same thing. And it wasn't until after he got treatment that he was able to see that how bad and how far he had gone. He was playing games about the son of Sam, of course. And the guy that owned the dog, his name was Sam. So he just thought that was funny.
Yeah, Sam Carr. That's why they call it Son of Sam, because he was the owner of the dog. So.
There was a guy that was in prison that spoke to him, gave him a Bible, and kept working with him. And he became friends with him. And the fact that he made a friend kind of changed everything, according to his testimony now.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that? Somebody that could have a psychic ability that could totally change someone's perspective to where he realized, at least at that point, you know what? I'm a POS. I'm a piece of shit.
Yep.
I got to take responsibility for what I did.
It was a battle there for him, really, even in the courtroom, as you were talking about when he would yell out. This is the mind-blowing thing, right? I don't know if you guys know this. The courtroom was on the 7th floor in New York where he was on trial, and he made a run for the window to jump out the window to kill himself. So, and they had all
Heard a
jump
bunch
on
of police officers too.
Yeah, they had to end the case that day and delayed it and all that. And so they really evaluated him, and they were saying he was paranoid schizophrenic. All right. Now that's the big thing you guys got to understand, and this is where the supernatural comes in too. For me, yes, the signs are there. He was at the age where it really comes to fruition in that early 20s. So that meets the criteria. Paranoid, thinking things are talking to him, voices are talking to him, and whatever. But once he was captured, really, it just drew back, which tells me with his association with the cult, with Satanism and all that, which really was another thing that they said that he was part of a group and he didn't act alone. And that's all BS too. So he acted alone. But with that disassociation that he had, because of all the stuff that happened to him in life, the Satanism, he finally belonged, felt like he had purpose. He lost sight of himself. He disassociated with who he really was and hung on to this Satanism. And then when he was pulled out, disassociation could show like you're possessed, or it could show that you're paranoid schizophrenic too. So you have to discern between the two. Was he possessed because of the Satanism, or was he paranoid schizophrenic? But the thing is, I know, Lee, you said he was treated. It was a while before he even took any medication. So if he was paranoid schizophrenic, he would still be in that psychosis. So I'm really thinking there's a potential that he opened himself up to something that we don't know could be supernatural that made him do what he did. That's why he.
That's what he said.
So much. Yeah,
that's exactly what he said. He said that he felt it enter him.
Yeah. And he tried to blame it on different things, but when people have those familiar demons because of how they grew up and those attachments, they'll blame everything. They'll blame, it's almost like narcissism. It's everybody else's fault. They'll point it out. It's the dog's fault. It's the cult I was in. There was all these other. He kept making up stories even as time went, until he really, I think, became the son of hope, is what he calls himself now in his preaching. But again, some people could go to that side. There's great Christians that go to church every day. Once they get out of church, they'll run you off the road. There's those things that you could be saved, but really deep down, what really is going on in his head? Does he really want to help? Is he helping himself, or is he helping these other people? That we don't know because we're not there with him as he talks. We see all this stuff. But again, he was a showman. He sent those letters to the police. He wanted to be on TV. He smiled. So that's the other part of it too. It's a big onion that we're peeling back. This guy's like very, very interesting out of all the serial killers. That's why they make movies about him, because there's so many different facets of it and all that. So you can't really pinpoint exactly. So it's like
exactly. That's why I said what I said before. Do you think it's all an act? Because he was paranoid schizophrenic. And I can tell you, even with treatment, that never goes away totally.
Yeah.
They still have that in the back of their conscience or the subconscious.
I was about to say that's exactly what you were just saying. That's
if you know the symptoms.
This is a big ball of wax here.
You could act. I had an inmate. I worked at a psychiatric institution, and once you are better, they put you back in the prison you came from. So if you didn't like that prison, you're at that. You're gonna make up your psychosis to stay there because you're having better treatment. So this guy would do that. He would pretend that he had something going on. He'd talk to his two pencils, his bad pencil and his good pencil, and have arguments with them. But it was all a show. See, because he didn't want to leave that prison to go back to the other one. He didn't want anybody to think he was well. Just when they're about to transfer him out, he would have an incident. So, that's just with a lot of different criminals of that, having, of course he had psychological problems. Was it paranoid schizophrenia? Probably not. There's other things, being a sociopath and all that, because he didn't really get along with people. Was he being a bully? But I think there's other stuff on top of it. I think he was born and made. He was both.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yep. So Lee's got some good background right now.
Yeah.
We can't hear. So.
Excuse me. He only killed 6 people, right?
That's what he's. He injured 11, and he killed. I think it was 6, and he injured 11.
Right. But
7, actually 7, maybe 2 other ones. I don't know if they're counting the ones. It was before he started using the gun, he tried to stab 2 people.
Well, that was the one that happened in 79, correct?
No, 79, he was already in prison, but that was the one in 75.
That was
his 75, 76, 77. 77 was the big year because that was the year, that the lights went out in New York. They had the blackout, and they're all worried about this guy roaming the streets. So that's caused a big controversy during that time too. But there's a lot to it. But that was the bigger part. But yeah, he started off trying to stab people. It didn't work well for him, so that's why he went to the 44 caliber gun that he's used to handling. So, the bullnose, I think it was called.
It was a bullnose, yes.
Yeah.
Because he was actually proficient and a sharpshooter with that weapon.
Exactly.
Very highly trained with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Military, I think he was infantry.
He was. He was an army guy.
He started out in, where was he? In Kentucky?
He went to Fort Knox for his basic training.
And then he went to Korea.
Korea, yeah.
Yeah. And they think he might have had some being in the military, that type of thing. Because you think about it, they say he had PTSD too from it, which could cause a lot of issues coming back from the military. But I think a lot of it was when he came back from the military, you think about he doesn't have any friends. What about his brothers that he was in the military with? Did they
the thing
not
is,
like him or get along with him?
Yeah, he never served in wartime. He was a peacetime in the Army. So he never saw combat. So
But he was in South Korea, right?
I've been to South Korea like 30 times. I'm not. It's just a place.
It was 70. I think he was in the military 71. So that's like long past the Korean War. That's more of the tail end of the Vietnam War and stuff like that. But when he came back, that's when he said, "I want to know who I am. I need to have purpose. I need to know who I am." So he sought out his biological mother, found out that he had a half sister. So when he found his mother, they would have conversations, they're all getting along. And then she finally told him that she had him out of wedlock, that she cheated with somebody to have him. And that drove him crazy because now he knew, okay, there's another man in my life that didn't care about me. My mother, did this out of wedlock, and it made him angry. So growing up, finding out, oh my God, my mother's alive. So my adoptive parents lied to me. Everybody's lying to me. So, what's my purpose? Why am I here? And that creates the mind, that twist that we talk about. You already have problems, but then those keep pounding on. And PTSD. I know he didn't see time in the military for fighting, but you're still getting trained to change your frame of mind to be in the military too. So his frame of mind at the time, it could have disassociated him with that also. So there's a lot that goes into it. And I mean, this guy, just reading about him, all the crazy stuff and just all the changes, and do we believe him or we don't believe him? I know he's able to go up for parole every like 4 years or something.
Yeah,
but
he said that he
doesn't want to get out. He doesn't want to get out, or who knows? So,
he said that it's a requirement for him to go before the parole board, but he has no desire to get out. I think he knows that he's just a rotten egg, and he needs to be right where he is.
But I think a lot of it really at this time, if we believe that he's really helping people in prison and all that, and that's where he's at. He says he is, but again, remember what we talked about. What didn't he have going into the crimes? He didn't have purpose.
Nope.
He didn't know who he was. So it took him maybe going to prison and finding whatever he found to have purpose. So I don't know. That's probably why he doesn't want to leave. That's my guess.
Well, what's funny too is like his first victims were couples.
Yeah.
That tells me he was jealous because he could not get a girlfriend himself. So she figures, if I can't have one, this guy ain't gonna have a girlfriend. or himself anymore.
Well, there was an interview with him. I think it was our buddy there, Wrestler, talked to him in prison. And,
Yep.
you know, Robert Wrestler always asks these different questions, and finally, you know, got him to admit he thinks the reason why he killed the couples is he didn't want, you know, because he knew his mother was having an affair, like off in a secret location. And that's where these people were in the car in a secret location making out. All he could think about was his mother cheating with this guy and her becoming pregnant with him and what happened in his life. So he didn't want anybody or any kid to be born that way and have to go through what he went through. So that's why they killed him. All women with long brown hair, which I'm assuming that maybe his birth mother's pictures with long brown hair. So the girls in New York started cutting their hair short, coloring it blonde, so they, you know, wouldn't be supposed victims of that MO that he had.
Mm-hmm. But he said in an interview that he never targeted dark-haired women. He said it was all women, and I'm like, no, I think you're, because now he's backpedaling big time. You know, he you know,
I said.
Oh yeah,
I said he's full of shit.
He is full
I
of
don't believe
shit.
it.
That's why I said he can throw all this religious mumbo jumbo all he wants to.
Yeah.
He's still a sick, deprived piece of shit. Is what he actually is.
Yeah, that's narcissism and all that. He was never diagnosed with it, but he does present that way. A lot of narcissists will make up stories to make themselves look better. You know,
you know,
that's what he's really doing right now.
Us as mediums, we pick up on the bullshit like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm picking up bullshit from the first time in '87. He said he was an evangelical Christian. Now I'm like, bullshit.
My problem is I'm Aquarius, so on top of it,
you can't bullshit us.
You know, Blaine, you sound exactly like Gwen here. I was telling her about all the things that he had said, and she's going, "It's bull stank,
bull stank,
oh, bull stank, bull stank."
It's bullshit.
When I saw his picture, because I was making the ad for it, it physically made me sick. The evil just made me sick.
Let me tell you guys, I know where you guys live. I know how far away you guys live from me. But just so you know, Shawgun Prison, where he is now, is an hour from my house.
Oh, I would love to go there.
So I literally, if I have permission, one thing I've had on my bucket list for a long time, I want to sit with a serial killer of that type of fame to just have that conversation that somebody like Robert Wrestler would have or anything like that. I just want to hear it for myself and be able to put my own educated, you know, knowledge on it and see what I get, or if somebody's with me, what they get.
I'd love to be there.
That would be very interesting for me, but I probably won't get that chance. You know, what's the purpose? You know, hopefully the show takes off and maybe they give us permission to talk to people like this.
That would be awesome.
So,
hey, they're opening up media avenues all over the place, and we are considered media for what we do.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's true.
He was thrilled to have been on several. He was thrilled to be on several Christian media.
Yeah.
He said that 700 Club and several other things, other Christian channels and networks he had been on. He was honored to be a part of that. Well, you know, like you were just saying, it might just simply be I got the attention. I fit in here. This is what I need to say, like what you and Blaine were saying.
And that's the whole thing.
Isn't that right, Blaine?
He was trying to get attention.
Yes.
At the time, they were trying to profit. And a new law came out in New York called the Son of Sam law, where you can't profit off of your story if you're the convicted or the families of the convicted.
And I think there's 27 other states that followed suit with a similar type law. Now, it was great for him to be on all these TV shows. It gave him recognition. All right, think of how ironic this is. You're full of the devil, and you get on a Christian show. You're taking away time from that Christian show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Look at the man's eyes.
Yeah.
That's pure evil in his eyes. Pure evil.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Made me so sick.
Have you ever seen Men in Black?
Yes.
And that guy was, it's like it was a suit and the bug was inside of the guy. I know that's hilarious, but it's like a dating whatever evil was in him.
Yeah.
Because now
you guys got to remember something. Even nowadays, anything that's evil like that, this Christian channel, they invited him in to be on it. They invited evil in. It's the same thing. You invite a vampire in the movies. What do you think's going to happen? Now that takes control and that weaves its energy through those people, and what's going to happen to them if they get attachments or anything, if there's something even still attached to him in a way. But I think there is. Familiar demons never go away. You have to deal with them. Familiar demons, people have their demons.
I think that he's.
But you're never going to go away, those familiar demons. Those are the things that attack you. Like if you're an alcoholic, you're always going to be an alcoholic, but you could put it at bay. But that demon's still there. That memory's still there. Are you going to overcome it or not? And I just don't think he's overcome his demons.
No, I really don't.
They're in hiding. He's hiding it. So. He's a master manipulator.
People in their 20s go through, people in their 20s go through an identity crisis, but holy hell. What in the world?
He's had it his whole life. He's had an identity crisis his whole life. Think about what he's gone through and what we talked about. When you go through an identity crisis your whole life, you're never going to know who you are actually. No. So you are pretending. You are in that mode when you're a little kid. That's why he wrote like a little kid during that. Because when you're in that mode, like I said, he never really got past 5, all the stuff that happened and what he knew before that. So you stay in that pretend mode. I have the imaginary friends. My imaginary friend is the demon and the dog. My imaginary friend, even though he's older, he's still imagining all this. It's not paranoid schizophrenia. It's just how he grew up. He still has that childlike thing in his head where he has to make stuff up. Little kids have to lie all the time. So that's all he's doing. He hasn't grown up mentally. So
now, would that be called like the Peter Pan complex?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So we're looking at a Peter Pan complex slash paranoid schizophrenia sociopath. Holy.
Well, I don't think, the paranoid schizophrenia, I think he acted that out, really, to tell you the truth. He was never really medicated for it. I don't know if he's medicated now for other stuff, but the thing was at the time he wasn't. I think it was totally made up. I think he just disassociated.
I do too.
And that's going to show us, like I said, as some people in the paranormal, when somebody disassociates, they think of it as somebody being possessed. They're not. Yep. Case in point, what was the one we were talking about?
Emily Rose.
Elise Michelle. Oh. So she was actually ill.
Emily Rose,
But, on top of that, the way she presented, it wasn't, she disassociated. She just gave up on life, stopped eating and all this other stuff. So that's when you got to get medical help. At that moment.
Well, she also had a special, didn't she have like a special identity that self-sacrificial, action that she had, it brought on the stigmata.
Exactly.
She said, if I can prove to you there's a demon, there's a devil, then there's a God. And so she wore that badge of, like the letter A, she's like, I'll wear this.
Yeah, exactly. Because we're really thinking about, I don't want to get religious or anything. Everything that happens and we second guess it and all this other stuff. I really firmly believe, for me, a higher power, if I second guess everything, who am I to say that God didn't do that already? He made nature, he made everything. Everything has life. Certain things we say that can't happen. Maybe it can. Who are we to say? We don't know half of what our brain does, and those are the things that come up. And that's why people think so differently. But everybody, you never want to put a limit on what God might do. Is there paranormal? All these things could happen. Is there UFOs? Is there Bigfoot or all this? The serial killer's mind, why does it work that way? Who lets it happen? There's such a rabbit hole, which is my favorite thing. Yes. Everything that goes on and what we talk about, especially on this show and all the other shows that we do. And that's what makes it so interesting, because who am I to say? I'm not going to say something isn't real. I'd be questioning my higher power. and I never want to do
true.
that. So, yep.
I do feel like the stages of life that, you know, he's gone from being an angry butthead of a kid that couldn't be controlled to having identity crisis to being you know, a serial killer because he's hanging with a bunch of people that say they're in the occult. So he wants to be, you know, the big man and actually do the things that they may have said that they wanted to do. So now he's in prison, and it's better for him to try to help other people. You know, he's just forming to his norm. But now I feel like he's of the age, and he's in his 70s.
Yeah, 71.
He's looking at meeting his, you know, the creator.
Yeah.
You know, I think maybe now he's trying to get as many Boy Scout badges as he can because he's made a mess of himself. And
he tried to get
and
some
to hear him
points.
to hear him talk about going to community college and getting the job that he had and all the things that he had set up for himself, and then he got the car. He said, I had things going, I was on the right track. And he just closes his eyes, and he'll even say, I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to be associated with that person anymore. Those actions, God forgave me. You know, he's completely showing that disassociative quality and trait in his personality he has to what he was before.
Yeah,
but he seems so humble. By the way, he does have a girlfriend.
Oh, he finally got a girlfriend?
Yeah.
Some crazy prison leech.
Yeah,
I don't even know what to say.
That.
Oh my goodness.
I just don't get people, you know, sometimes.
Yeah.
Again, you know, we question people like that, motives, stuff like that. It's just crazy. But one thing I want to get back to, we talked about all the jobs he had set up. You know, he started out, when he came back from the war, he was a taxi driver for a little bit. And you know what he was doing when he finally got caught? What his job was?
No.
He was a mail sorter at the post office.
Oh, so he went postal.
So now you could say he went postal.
Postal. Holy shit.
He went postal. Hashtag going postal. So
there you go. Hashtag postal.
Hashtag postal. There it is.
Literally personified the saying. You know.
Matt says human beings are the only species on the planet that second guess our given abilities.
Yeah.
You know,
to the choir there, brother.
Yeah. Thank you, baby. He's absolutely right. You know,
because we know now we're on a higher frequency than most people are. So our darkness is pushed way back, but our light is way out front, above, around, and beyond us at all times.
That's what people see.
Thank you, Blaine. Yeah. Thank you.
That's what people see.
And you know, this guy was so unevolved. He couldn't be touched. He couldn't be reached. He had people to love him.
Yeah.
He went in the military and was given so much. They didn't want him. He was given an honorable discharge, but he was only in 3 years. They didn't want him either.
No, they did. They told him he could not re-enlist, but they would give him an honorable discharge.
Yeah, and that says a lot. Maybe that's why he didn't have any military friends that helped him out afterwards. I
wonder how much discipline would have helped him. You know, I mean, if somebody was a real authoritarian that laid the law down, get your butt up from under the bed, stop being a jerk. You know, you're not going to be bullying anybody. You're going to apologize. You know, have somebody sitting with him in class until he learned how to behave. I mean, you know, really put him through it.
Yeah, act like you got some home training.
If you're a narcissist,
exactly.
If you're a pure narcissist, it doesn't matter how much discipline happens. You're always going to be a narcissist. You can't overcome that. He was brought up, and the things that happened to him at the age of 5, where, you know, they said everything you need to know you learn by kindergarten and all that book. It's the same thing. All the stuff you learn. If something happens in that time, your trajectory is messed up. To a point, could you be a serial killer? Yes. Could you be a murderer? Could you be a thief? Could you break the law? Could you be an alcoholic, or any of these little things that happen in life that follow you and then just get worse and worse, you know? And I think with him, he never really was a good person. You know, I think he came out that way, and just people just expounded on it. Nobody was there for him.
I have a question, or what y'all think. Yep. What if his stepmom had never told him? What do you think? Would he have had a better chance of being a decent person?
I think that was her first step.
No, his adopted mother was the one that told him, not his stepmother.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I got that wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, his adopted.
Now his.
So I'm just saying, what
he
if
just didn't
what if
like
they
the
had never
stepmother.
told him? What if?
You don't know.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
don't know if
that's what I'm
that
saying.
was
What
just
if?
part of the equation, if it was a big part of the equation or a small part. It might have
Right.
been just he came out the womb just, you know,
A little serial killer.
Well, his
Yeah.
mom was wacky, so maybe
Well.
he inherited the wacky.
Yeah.
and we don't know. We don't know about his natural father's side. His whole natural father's side could be
Yeah.
batshit crazy too. We don't know because he don't know. He don't know where he actually came from.
Even now, he doesn't have a clue.
No.
Is it in the book? I never
No.
saw it.
Well,
but
his birth mother said who his father was, but his father had passed away by the
Okay.
time that he met his real mother after the military.
Yeah.
So he wasn't around anymore, but I know she did tell him who he was. They really probably didn't have that come out in a lot of the information as
Okay.
we were
No.
researching it. But
But-
still, he felt abandoned by him.
One of the
either way.
things too is the mother tried to play both men against each other
Yeah.
to see which one she wanted better to be a father to David.
Yeah.
And both of them told her to just go F you.
Yeah.
Back
Now,
off.
I got a question for you. Here we go. I did a case, it was on repossessed, and there were two brothers, and they were told by their mother, she was going with a lot of different men, and she would say, "This is your baby. Oh no, this is your baby. And you got to give me money. Oh no, this is your baby, and you need to give me money." And so finally, show me the baby. So the crime in this case does not relate to this crime, but the crime at that case was she sent her two sons to go steal the baby up the street, and it turned into they killed everybody.
Yeah.
And so all of them were put to death. Okay, so it was a real shit show. But I thought about, just horrible, and the boys were so young, and one of them was mentally challenged, and he was just happy to be with his brother, and they lived in true poverty. It's horrible. But I'm thinking about this situation now. What if his mother was doing the same thing? Oh, I'm carrying your baby. No, I'm carrying your baby. Can you pay me this, pay me that? And then when the jig was up, because he was born, the guy was like, I'm not paying out. And so he got rid of it. She got rid of him. I wonder if, and this is a thing, but I was a spiritual thing, but I was wondering, we know, all of us know about epigenetics, how the, our DNA, our genetics can actually carry on to our descendants.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe her a little bit of crazy and that spiritual, what am I looking for? She's a con,
Yeah.
but that whole thing of wanting to just take over and I want what's best for me, and it doesn't matter what I have to do to get it. Maybe he inherited that awful trait.
It could be.
Well,
even the father, we don't know much about the father, but think about it. When you have these crazy women out there and she's supposedly married and this other guy comes into the picture, he must have known she was married or something.
Sure.
He probably had a crazy part to him too.
That's what I'm
Two
thinking.
crazies together, you have again, that epigenetics that could happen where he comes out already, predisposed to what he's going to become, even though, that nurture part of it, which wasn't very good with his step parents either.
Not at all.
It didn't even
spoiled
penetrate.
him. Again, I told you, there's two different things. They could be, he was a loner or whatever, but they did say his step parents spoiled him a lot, let him do whatever he wanted. They started trying to get him help after, but it's too late by then. You tell him you're adopted at 5 and you spoil him. That's the thing that comes up, and making those decisions. And I think that, played a big part in it too.
Yeah, I agree.
If he had been in my household, he'd got his butt whipped. He wouldn't have had to worry about any identity crisis because he'd have been told what it was.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, when you're spoiled.
Excuse me.
Yeah. When you're spoiled like that, that's the big thing that comes in. What's the word I'm trying to look for is, like I told you before, with kids, we could underparent and overparent. Sometimes you're spoiling because you have maybe some kind of guilt because he is adopted, and you overparent, and then look what happens. It could go either way. It's like a Goldilocks syndrome that I like to call. You know, none of us could be really just right. We all try and raise our kids the right way. We have to just be there for them and, you know, support them. But sometimes, you know, some people, like I said, when kids don't learn how to lose, you know, then this is what happens. You know, spoil somebody enough, everybody gets a trophy. Yeah, you got to know. We got all the hashtags coming up.
I like that.
You got to put.
So I heard a hashtag.
Going
Yeah, I heard a hashtag a minute ago. What was
going
it?
postal.
Postal.
Oh yeah.
Going postal.
Going postalwits.
All right. So we've got
Postalwits. Yes, going postalwits.
Going postalwits.
I love it.
David Berkowitz.
Okay. I
do postal,
go.
postal, and then
Postalwits.
WITZ at the end of it. So going postalwits.
From
Got it.
postalwits. I love it.
Now we know
She's
it's
on my
attached to
computer, so
Berkowitz.
she's lost.
Yeah. I left my glasses in the truck, so it's like,
Oh.
you know, what the heck?
I don't know.
But that's okay. I got it.
See?
Let's see if
Look out
yours.
the top.
Let's see.
We'll get there.
Oh no.
This
That's not
blind
it
for
right
bat.
there.
Look
No.
at it.
She did say her eyesight was
So,
getting a little
like,
worse. So yeah.
Mine's getting better.
Mine's getting. I can't read with my glasses now.
Hers is to see
Oh,
up
Jesus.
close. I can't see from a distance. So
Well, this is my distance, but it ain't
Yep.
enough. Look at the top. Is it not enough? Look at the top.
Hmm.
Is it any better?
how do I look?
Look through the top, she said.
No,
Bring them down a
no,
little
I
bit.
tried.
That's
Why
not
is this not going?
it. What you need better?
I'm trying to do going postal wits as a
Going
hashtag,
postal
but your
Yeah.
computer says heck to the no. You're not mama.
We're
So,
a little bit of a mess.
save. Okay,
yeah.
well that would do it.
That
Now
would do
now
it.
show it. Heck yeah, it
Yeah.
takes a team.
Yeah.
Now you got
So
something to
when
put on
we
your
go-
shirt.
I got a hashtag finally.
You did it. And that's a good one.
Yeah.
So whenever
right.
we go to
That's
your
awesome.
true crime
Yep.
Paracon, you know,
There we
we
go.
will have t-shirts
Oh yeah,
Going
and their
postal wits.
hashtags
and our
Yeah.
pictures.
and our pictures. We'll have our own, of course. So
Yeah.
please go to Paracon with 2 N's
Yep.
in
.org.
Waterbury, Connecticut in June. June, what was the date?
July 12th
July.
and 13th.
12th and 13th. Yes, I'll be playing your commercial in just a minute.
I just played it
We'll
too.
we'll
Yep,
all
we'll
we'll all
play
be
again.
there. We'll all be there for the true crime side of everything.
Plus
And
Matt
the
and all the puppies. Yep.
Matt,
Yes.
Matt
Okay,
of course,
we
is
have
gonna
our
be there
own.
too.
We have our own a little it's our own little hashtag, our own slogan.
Yeah.
You know, diva dogs and haunted dolls.
Because you know, there's a third now that my little
Yeah.
puppies along. Yeah.
Sweet
I
little.
want a T-shirt with Luna's mug on it. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, we need a
That'll be
Luna
fun.
T-shirt.
She's out in my recliner. She's
Nice.
yeah.
She had a big ride today.
Oh boy.
Just get your photo.
Oh, she heard her name.
Luna.
Oh, she heard her
What?
name. She's popped up.
Uh-oh.
Wait.
Luna,
Yeah,
you're
she's
not
got a
doing your
photobomb.
show.
I
Oh,
think
she
Blaine
heard- she
talked a
heard your
little
voice,
too loud.
Blaine.
Heard Blaine.
Hello.
Where'd she go?
She was on
Come
the other
photobomb.
show. She was on the first show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She wasn't on our
Oh,
show,
good.
so it don't count.
She's
but
got to
she's
earn
on
her
our-
kibble, man. She's got to,
Come on,
chop,
Come on,
chop.
watch your leg.
Yeah.
Don't let me scoot
Okay.
You need,
No,
you need
she
to have the
didn't.
mascot.
Yeah, we gotta have
Oh,
her
she's
on our
out.
show.
She's out.
Yeah, she rolled
all
over.
Access, all
Boo.
access TV
Boo.
network mascot. Luna.
Yeah, pretty much.
So what do you
All right,
think?
my feelings
Next
are hurt
week,
'cause I didn't get
Blaine, you got any ideas? Can I make a nomination? If you
Let's
say
do
no,
it.
it's okay. It's completely okay.
Do it.
But I was thinking about doing the possession of Emily Rose
Let's
of
do it.
what's her name? Well, I can't say her real name.
Annalise Michelle.
Emily
That one?
Michelle.
Yeah.
Because there is a criminal side of that.
There is.
Because the priest had to go to jail for allowing her just dwindle down to death. I mean, she was dehydrated, she wasn't medicated, everything was wrong.
Yeah.
So
That
maybe we
works.
can look at the do's and don'ts of doing an exorcism, the legalities of it, the criminal act of it, but yet also on the supernatural side. What? WTF, yo?
WTF.
That's
man.
the craziness.
Why do you think the Catholic Church now is denying doing exorcisms?
There's a lot that goes into it.
Why do
know-
you think you have so many demonologists now? Because there ain't no Catholic priest that want to do the ceremony no more. I can do
No,
it.
all of that kind of went sideways when the Pope, by the way, May the Pope rest in peace.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well,
I'm an
whatever.
anti-Pope. So.
Yeah. But there we go.
Screw the
WTF, yo.
Oh my God. That's
Sorry if I offend any Catholics. I don't care because I don't like
Yeah.
the Catholic Church.
That's all right. That's all
Don't get
right.
rid of our audience. Don't get rid of our audience.
No, I'm not. I'm going to tell you why I
No,
do not like the Catholic Church because
They have their opinion.
they took the Native Americans out of their homes,
Yeah.
beat them for not speaking their own language. So I hold that against them, and
Mhm.
I will hate them to the day I die for doing that to the Native Americans.
Well, that's
So
good. I know. That's what I love. We could talk about all this stuff. This is the problem in our community right now. We can't talk about this stuff without somebody going like that.
Exactly.
See, us group here, we share different points of view, but we all get along very well and we respect each other. And
This
that's
is
what
called
we need
unity.
out
This is
there
what it
in
means.
this universe. You know?
This is family.
Yeah.
Find your tribe and love them hard.
There you go.
Yep. We all
Right,
have different
brother?
opinions about stuff and we listen to each other because you could learn something from it, whether you believe in it or not. You know, we're all on our own journey. We all learn from each other to help ourselves on our own journey, you know, and we're helping each other out. So that's what it is. You still have to look in the mirror every day and make that decision if you're on the right path or not. So, yep.
Well, so next week, Annalise Michelle,
So what we might-
takeaway, going
Yeah.
postal wits.
Yeah.
Yeah, that hashtag is going to be a real thing, man.
I might have a couple
But
people we could have
We
on the
still
show.
have Leg of
Yeah.
Joe.
We could
Huh?
I have a couple good friends that might be good for the show. So
Great, please.
I'll have to talk
This
to them.
one
and see
has
which one
not
wants
been
to do
beat,
it.
though.
Leg of Joe.
That's
Blaine.
the champion. That's the champion right there.
Leg of Joe is always going to be the
Joe.
best. The first is always the best.
Blaine, you did great, man.
There was nothing for me after that. I could not stop laughing. Look at Joe. I was like, yeah, that's hilarious.
I think we laughed the other half of the show. That was like halfway through the show, I think it was when that.
Yeah.
And every show since. So good
Well,
job.
it was
Good
just
job,
set up.
Blaine.
It was just
You're
set up so
trending.
perfect.
Yeah.
It was set up so perfect. It's like, look, how did you go from eating a McDonald's cheeseburger to eating Leg of Joe? You know,
Yeah.
and then you brought up the thing that he fed them sandwiches, and
Yeah.
like he must have been feeding them Leg of Joe sandwiches.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
That's some nastiness.
That's still always gonna be funny. That's still
But
gonna
if you
always be funny.
come to the Paracon Twins,
Twins.
Waterbury, Connecticut, you will see the Radicals' haunted objects, and
Yeah.
they actually have the fork
The
of
Dahmer
Jeffrey
fork,
Dahmer.
Yep.
So it might have
Yeah.
actually fed him the Leg of Joe. We never know.
Yeah. Yep. We'll have to
So
have.
I go
Blaine
back
pose,
to-
Blaine pose with the
Yeah,
fork.
what the fuck, yo?
What's
Excuse
With
me.
the-
WTF, yo!
yeah.
Oops.
It's going to be so good, all of us together, man. I can't wait to get some pictures.
I know.
This is
It's
going
gonna
to
be
be,
awesome.
this is going to kill it.
Yep. It's gonna be a good one. Give
Well,
you
thank
guys
so
all
much,
neck
everybody,
hugs.
for watching. I can see we've got a lot of people watching. Thank you so much. Share it out. I know that we've got a lot of true
Oh,
crime
this is just
people.
me. That's mine.
Oh
That-
God,
yeah,
that's
that's-
not even counting over there. And then what I was tracking,
No,
we got a
I
lot.
have to say it live here. I was trying to add the numbers up, and of
Yeah.
course, there's mine, there's y'all's, there's there, and all the shares. We have no clue because it's shared out so many times.
Yeah.
We can only track what page, because this is a Facebook Live show as well as a YouTube show, as well as an Instagram show. Plus, we're doing the little snippets on TikTok.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so, if you look at all of these things, and I've got 2 pages, Blaine has 2, you've got yours, and then we're sharing it out to groups, and then the network within All Access
And then
Network, our
mine too.
podcasters, they're sharing our stuff
Yeah,
as we
'cause
share
we all
theirs.
share each
So
other's
there's no way to
stuff, you
count
know.
this.
But
We have.
hey,
I know
look
we
at
had
shirt I have on
70.
today.
We had
George
70
Weirdos.
something
I love it.
shares
Yeah, we had 70 shares.
during the last show when it was
Wow.
the hour, but that's not
Wow.
including afterwards. So we can't
Yeah.
keep up with all the people.
Yeah,
We know
hey.
what we have, but we don't know all of what
No,
we
but
have.
Well, what
we're
we
pretty
do know
good.
is I know there's a few people out there, hopefully more than a few, that are enjoying our breakdowns and all that and are educating people on serial killers and what to look out for.
That's it.
Keep each other
That
safe.
is a mission.
Yeah. So it's a big one.
And I thank you.
Yes.
We thank you. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
We love
Yes.
you guys. Thank you for keep coming back.
Yeah.
And next week we ought to have a good show because
It's going to be more on the
different.
supernatural side, but we'll see because there's a lot to break down with. And I may have some audio that we can play.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's a
Because
time
she
when I
actually
showed-
was using double vocal cords, and that usually takes lots of training.
Oh,
How did
shoot,
she do
that's
that?
right.
Yeah.
It's freaky deaky deaky do. And again, I say, WTF, yo.
Mhm.
That's some bad stuff.
Like I said, I have a couple people in mind that I might try and see if they want to come on the show. And I'll
Only
let
thing you got to
guys
do is
know.
invite them. I've
Yeah.
got, so we are, All Access Network is now official sponsor of the Abaddon Hotel, Waldorf Estate of Fear. We've got part of the video here. We wanted to go ahead and start it. We've got
Well, I did it at the beginning too.
I
now.
saw it, but we
As
also,
well as the con.
yes, so we'll
Yeah.
be doing both as we close out. We'll see you guys next week. Stay spooky and stay safe.
Yeah.
Have a great night.
Bye, guys.
And we're out.